Hello everyone, my name is Axel Martínez Gonzalez. I will to tell you about my tale. It's my project of English class. The Rabbit of a God. It was once in a kingdom that privileged of the present day. It which reads on words were very common. The stone cold raped the kingdom in a very cold environment. But in his mythology there was a goddess that every 400 years will reincarnate in a human which would put an order in a kingdom and destroy all evil that threatens in its people at the age of 400 on harmonious day without wars or disturbance that threatened the kingdom. A young woman was born. After 24 years, her characteristics were very familiar, though her previous recognition, a young woman with a very kind personality, the kind actions of the goddess and her great wisdom revelate to the inhabitants her identity. The king seek her two companions or knights will protect the goddess of war. So much so the goddess and her noble companions protected the kingdom from chaos, but the kingdom had a story that was never revealed: the reincarnation of the god of chaos, who was born the same day as the goddess. This story said that the god of chaos was very dangerous and was as powerful as or stranger than the goddess of war. The goal of the god of chaos was to wreak havoc on the earth, and it linked all tweets and expanding his power through the regions. It is said that for the world to be saved from chaos, the goddess will have to face the god of chaos, but gods will have an even battle in which they will attack with all their power. It is said that in the battle of 400 years ago, but gods died in their combat. A short time later, a very weak and vulnerable young boy appeared who could not protect himself, so much so that the cruel people on the town considered him a weak and pathetic person. Because his conditions were very bad, he was sick and he was weak. Suddenly, some white adults began to beat him and were about to kill him. Suddenly, the young warriors appeared to attack the adults, and the goodness protected the weak young guy. There, the young guy becomes someone of those for the goodness so much so that he managed to be. When the king began to analyze to prophecy, it was only a month before the next war between the gods. Then the king had the idea of debating with the young people to be alert to the return of the god of chaos. They came to the conclusion that the environment generated by the war will be very strong, but for this they should convince the king to help them with their mission. The young knights have to take care of their darkness slowly. The vulnerable young guy had a fatal hitch, remembering how they was abused, and he remembered how they abandoned him. He had great courage that increased his power. considerably in his condition as angry. The goodness got involved to help him, but he grabbed her by the neck and managed to. The young guy managed to expel half his power and reveal his identity. It was impossible to believe, but he's in a weak people. He was actually the god of chaos. He plugged the kingdom into chaos. He becomes someone cruel and at the same time someone more powerful than the knights. The knights managed to save their goodness, but to victorious in this war, they would have to finish off the god of chaos with just one mistake and everything would collapse. Put between the goodness and the knights, they managed to defeat him and thus put an end to